I'm Sandy from LabForOne.com, and do we have a treat for you today? We're diving deep into the world of RFID hacking and Proxmark with none other than the legend himself, Iceman. If you're ready to get your mind blown, stick around.
Let's go!
First question, can you present yourself?
Hello there, I'm Iceman. Well, you know me from the Proxmark world, you know me from RFID hacking, the Discord, YouTube channel, and most likely from some conferences.
How did you get the name Iceman?
That's a good question. I took it. Scandinavian person as I am, fits well with with it. So yeah, I took the name Iceman because yeah, simple. It's no secret about it.
What changed in the last 10 years for you?
Given the fact that I entered this world of Proxmarks 10 years ago, 2013, it's been a very intensive, strange changes, experiences and impressions all over the years, which has happened tremendously fast. I've been blessed in that sense by meeting a whole heap of extremely interesting people, had amazing talks and with interactions with people, doing things that I never thought that I'm going to do. So I think it changed and turned my life upside down, basically, in so many ways, this 10 years. But yeah, I'm truly blessed in that sense.
You've been the primary contributor to RFID projects for many years now. What is about RFID that tingles you?
What tingles the Iceman brain? Oh, yes. It still does. We usually make a joke about RFID hacking is a deep rabbit hole, reference to that old Kinder movie. And it is. It's so many layers. So once you stop looking into it, and it just opens up with more things, and you keep on wanting to understand more, and it's very rewarding. You have all different layers of, from hardware, from physical aspects to the software, tiniest software implementations on the top layer, and you have the whole spectrum. And it's super interesting. It's so much you need to know, and it just makes you humble, realizing that I don't know that much and I keep on forgetting things. But I also realize that my lowest is very high nowadays. But I don't say that because I want to sound like an idiot or something like that, or a stuck-up person. It's just that I take so much for granted now. But trust me, I've been reading the data sheets. I've been doing my homework, and I've been experimenting over and over and over again in order to get here, and also have amazing conversations with people that brings up. So yeah, that gives me so much reward still today, meeting all these people, talking about it.
Is RFID actually your day job?
Sorry to disappoint all of you guys. It isn't. I used to be a CTO at a startup company. It was a public company. We were doing some mobile access for the last 2 years, but I quit that job. And I've been running my own company for like 18 years, doing bespoke software consulting. But yeah, so that's my hall of... I usually do this when I treat people. This is my hall of shame, or wall of shame, with all this crap that was, popular once upon a time. You had a certificate for everything. So that's my wall of shame. So yeah, no, I'm a Microsoft developer in the bottom.
What is the state of RFID pentesting right now?
Wow. RFID pentesting. I think most companies that do security testing assessments today looks into physical access control systems. And they are quite good at it. They have gone from zero or some targeting things to what's today become the norm, the standard. So they do a whole heap of testing. I think if you look into... So let me start again. I used to be a co-trainer for Red Team Alliance trainings, and you see the customers there, or the students there, where they come from, and you realize the whole civil governmental or law enforcement, everybody has stepped up their games. So everybody is aware about it and they look into it. So, the level of basic analyzing RFID pen testing is kind of high today. But they're not doing a research, which is the difference between pen testing is like doing what we know already and try to figure out some 0-day in the microcontroller versus figuring out shit and doing talks about it, which usually where I end up, where I find things are funny. So it's changed. They are more professional today, I think.
What do you think is the most common mistake companies make in RFID security?
Ooh, I would say misconfigurations. Today's tech is quite hardened, but the installers and the customers, you have to look at it from a customer perspective. Where customers goes out and say they have a budget, we want this for this money, and the installer goes like, how can I make that money for the least effort? So that's where it happens. I think that's where the misconfigurations happens. They just, the default things. The installer in the end of the day doesn't know too much. He doesn't care. He just put up the readers on the walls, put up a controller, doesn't work, great, I'm out of there. And everybody thinks it's a secure system, and then we do an assessment 1 year later and go like, hey, you didn't turn it off, you didn't put on security here. Oh, that's bad. And it's a surprise, but most likely like that.
How easy it is for someone to clone an RFID card today compared to when you started?
I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of making it too easy. It's old tech, old legacy tech and middle old tech from 2010 and it is extremely easy. It's a piece of cake. You can, lots of toys does this today. The real secure ones, the top of line things, no. That's still very hard to clone. Like, people don't clone bank cards, right? EMV cards. People just doesn't because crypto keys. And they made it good. When people do EMV, there are misconfigurations and flags that they can manipulate with things. When it comes to access control systems, the top of the line, which is CEOS and DESFire and PIV, they made it good. It's not easy. I mean, if you want to deconstruct or destroy the card, you can do things, of course, but no. And then you have ticket systems, which is kind of trivial because they use a more older and simpler technology, which you can do. So it depends on the market, which uses which kinds of technology. Hotel cards, it's just a feeling about security most of the time.
Can you share a story where RFID vulnerabilities led to real-world consequences?
A war story, yes. Usually I can't talk about war stories because most of my things are under the lid. But I tend to ask all the people I meet on the conferences about their greatest war story. And man, do I get to hear these amazing stories from pentesters and red teamers and students and all these things. I have students came up in the beginning and talking about, I got free laundry because of you. I'm like, that's nice, but very sad for that little laundry place. Why don't you just pay for it? And then they have these pen testers doing like, oh yeah, we took a blow shark, smacked on the big antenna, we used the standalone mode, and I put it in a box and I stood in the elevator for 1 hour and I captured and then I got it and then I cloned it and we just, entered and then I went in and they tell the craziest story, which is super fun to do. This is something I would suggest for you if you go out and meet people at conferences. Ask them, what's the funniest story? Because people have tons of stories to tell you, and it's really good.
Have you noticed any innovation in the RFID space to look out for?
I'm always curious. So I look around, I scour the net, I scour the GitHubs and GitLabs and all these places for source code and all that. The latest black is um, in my field is UHF researching into that and doing things. Because it's dual tech. So UHF comes with luggage, parking tickets, and there's a lot of access control systems that actually has dual tech in them nowadays. So you have a low frequency and UHF in it. So low frequency is easy, so that's simple. But the UHF part is not. So that's something that's there. Another thing that's something that you need to have if you're into this is the latest magic card, the generation 5s or 4s. It's 4. The naming convention sucks. But you live in Asia, so you know how many magic cards or different sorts of magic cards come out. When I started 10 years ago, we was the only 3 people in the world who knew how to make a magic cards. And today, a lot of that knowledge has spread. So there's a lot of more coming out, but there's no unity. So it's all closed down, and they try to sell their software, and they say, oh, you can upload it for cracking. And you go like, hold on, you want me to take my customers, my assessments, physical access credentials, and send it to a server in China and crack the keys and get it back? No, it's not gonna work. So a little bit hard. But this generation 4 cards is really good. They have this shadow mode and stuff. That's kind of interesting to have. Expensive as fuck. It's really pricey, but it's something that you would need to have. But you also would need the why it's bad or why it's good.
Do you believe that the era of hacker, hobbyist, RFID exploration is coming to an end with the chipsets like DESFire?
If you ask, will be like, we won't be able to crack anything.
If you asked me 2 years ago, I would have said yes. And then I realized that the level of hackers today, they have done, the access to interesting gear like the EMP injectors, the fault injectors, and delayering of ICs. That technology has come so much further, and so many people are aware about it, and you can get trainings for it. So that today's hackers is on such a completely different level than 10 years ago. What they know and have tools available for them, and in decent price range. It's not super money that you pay $2 million for, like you did before. And now it's like, you can get it for $10,000 and training to it, and you can do really nasty stuff. So for me, right now, DESFire and stuff like that is misconfigurations, and you can get the key out if you do something stupid. But give it more time, and I'm pretty sure that DESFire will also, one by one, will find it. However, I have to say, NXP did a great job with them. They did well. But I will also say this: I think it's a monster of a product. They've added so many things. There's so many possibilities. There's so many technologies into it. So it's like so far from just RFID memory card to so much more, and it's bound to have problems. It's just the law of, the more line of code is in there, then we just haven't found it yet. But it will be, I'm pretty sure of that, within years, yes.
There have been few poke attacks, the Kasper Oswald on the old 3DS chipset. Do you think these chips are finally outspaced the manipulation tools?
Well, it touches what I just said before, but you're right. It's a good one. It's a good question. I think that the new chips, the DESFire EV3 and EV2s, needs new way of hacking. And I haven't seen so much researchers. 15 years ago, the Oswalds and Kasper, the Chaos Brothers, the Carsten Knoll, Henrik Plutz, the Dutch hackers, Wool, and everybody like that. they like researchers, top cryptologists, great in math, genius people. Those people have walked away from a lot of this stuff, so we're not seeing really super interesting academic research. And usually that was always the foundation, the basis upon all the manipulation tools was built upon. Some researchers find something, and then eventually a whole heap of years later that has been converted into code that could be done and then manufactured everywhere. So it's a timeline, I think. But DESFire, they did a good job with it, NXP, yes.
Can't AI help to speed up the process to get there?
No. It's great with languages or with words. When it comes to RFID hacking, it's not so much about words. It's pure maths or electronics. You have to be. I don't think AI has potential in exploration. I think AI has a way to help end users. You can make a better decision tree. So what am I going to do? So if you're a pen tester, you show them a picture of a reader, and then you ask the AI, what's going to happen? What am I going to do? And the AI says, yes, this system, it's known to this, and it has these weaknesses. I think that is what AI would be able to do. But in finding bugs and everything like that, I think static analyzing and dynamic analyzing of the firmware or stuff, it's already there. I don't think AI as we see today, AI is like this. You have this prompt. Today is open chat, or Bard, when you write prompts to it. And it answers with words and do some math and scripting back. So for RFID hacking, you need to have so much knowledge, the level of knowledge to understand when the AI is just saying crap. So I asked the AI, of course, I tried it, and you're like, nope. So it's like, but for someone who thinks that is correct, I wouldn't allow an open AI to operate on my body. I wouldn't trust it to do that. The same thing with RFID hacking. I wouldn't trust it to do. It will be a supporting tool. So let's see, identify this, tell me this, compile knowledge for me in a nice way. Try this. I think that's what we're gonna do. Misconfigurations like this. So if it compiles knowledge, but this is very much knowledge, but it's not shared. This is another thing with community. One part of why people know me is not because I've done a lot of things with Proxmark, it's also because of the community. I try to join and merge, unite the community and sharing knowledge across it. And I realized that people are taking so much from it, and people go there to make, the pen test assignment, they ask questions and take it to make $1 million back home, and then they never give anything back. So today is more, you keep your research to yourself, make sure that you present the talk first before you release your source code. And that means that the knowledge sharing is not there anymore. So there's no freebies for companies. So everybody's like, always pen test. They also tell me that, we have a custom branch of your firmware because we can't release our findings because it's an edge, towards competitors, right? So they don't share the findings, and that doesn't help. So then that's a bit sad, but it's kind of normal. That's how it works in that sense. But I don't think you will train an AI to give away that knowledge. That's what I'm trying to get back at. So no.
Okay, an easy question. What tools are you using daily life right now?
Oh, everybody knows that. It's no secret. Everybody knows. Everybody knows it's a Proxmark. It's daily. This is what I use. The whole Proxmark source code and the device, the RFID was made in the sense how I would like to use to work with it. So it fits my purposes 100%. But that's what I do. I am, however, looking into other things, because that's a following up question. So, do you have a flipper? Yes, I do have a flipper. I do have a NARD with a chip in it, but I've also put the chip in a card here so I can use it with my Proxmark instead, of course. So yes, and wait, hold on. One more.
Wait.
And I have a Chameleon Ultra laying
your...
Are you trying to interface your flipper with your Proxmark or a Proxmark with a flipper?
No. I took the SAM, the SAM card. So the RFID has a SIM module, right? So you can put that in there instead. So you can use the RFID to communicate with the HID SAM instead directly. And that's one of my side projects that I'm doing right now to convert that the Cedar project, that you can do the downgrade attacks, and making it work on the Proxmark.
Pretty cool. So
the downgrade attack is pretty cool.
Ready? So you like your you think the flipper has a real usage?
So many opinions about the flipper. For pentesters, with this add-on, it became interesting because now you can do some real pen testing and access control system. You can actually do that. It's of course completely focused towards the HID systems, mostly used in the US, some tiny bit in England, and then in Australia, New Zealand as well. But so it's limited towards that for that purposes. With that said, I can share you a little bit that what I did recently. I actually made a custom firmware for the flipper doing some bad USB stuff on a thing. I can't tell you more about that, but yes, I thought it was funny handy to have all of those tools. So my original thought of a flipper is that they actually took 7 interesting products and made it one. And I remember reading the Kickstarter page, and I immediately got the trigger inside of me. Oh God, I wanna buy this, because they really tapped into the buying mechanism in people. I didn't buy it. I got this one later on. So they managed that, the play or the gamification of it. So we did that, and you can do stuff. And then they also promoted it as a hacker tool. And this is where we're all backing down today, because they're getting crazy heat. Getting not allowed to be sold on Amazon, illegal to use in Brazil. And if you have a flipper on you in Vegas at the casinos, they consider it to be a burglar tool. Same thing with Proxmark, actually. So stuff I didn't know. Find out the hard way. People like, so you know that if you have a Proxmark with you, don't let it show in your hotel room, because they will consider it as a burglar tool, and you will be questioned by security. And yes, that didn't happen to me, however. But I was informed that being me, that Proxmarks are not. You're not able to have them, and we know that you have it. So I had to put them in my luggage and lock the luggage so the cleaner couldn't look at it. They instructed to look at those things. So that's a wake-up call. Yeah, well, back to the flipper. My biggest beef with flippers is they take the 7 great or 6 great hacker tool things, and they made it in one. But they also, nowadays, people think that the flipper did it. This is stuff that flipper has invented, and that's the people who've done it, and people pretend like the flipper did it, And I think it's like taking a big crap and shit on someone's face, because the people who made all the individual projects spent years, time and research and effort to do that. So they never send anything upstreams, in the open source projects. So they just take, and we don't give back. And that's my biggest beef with flippers. I just want to show you something fun. Meanwhile, you had a question about what's my wow moment in my period. I managed to walk into RF Village this year's DEF CON. I got a message from one of the rigs, or the rigs that's still running the show, saying, remember that we love you when you walk into the village today. Just remember that. Okay, what does that mean? No answer. So I walk in to the village, and everybody has this big smile, and then they show me this. Everybody walking around with a t-shirt saying I'm Iceman, asking about my flipper firmware. And motherfuckers. That was a kind of big thing, making a whole village, but standing on stage. So for a whole day they had this t-shirt on. And thought that was going to be a great thing for me. But the joke backfired. So people actually walked ahead and thought that individual people in the village working, that they were Iceman, because they never seen me. Yeah. We thought Iceman was an Asian dude. We thought he had this long beard.
Yeah, but I still wonder what is in your Flipper Zero firmware. But anyway.
It's amazing. It can do so many things you wouldn't believe.
There are new tools like the iCopy-X or the Chameleon Ultra that you showed me earlier that are beginning to blur the traditional lines between multi-frequency, reading, writing, cracking. What do you think about those tools?
So iCopy-X and the Chameleon Ultra, I think all of them are aiming for the low-hanging fruit. The iCopy-X is a typical example of things that had a good idea. They took hardware and stuff, and I understand why it exists as a product. In pen testing and red teaming, you go there, you need to clone a card. You don't need to you don't have to understand things. Just one button cloning, whoop, done. And that's the whole thing with Flipper as well. One button cloning, whoop, you're done. You take the Chameleon Ultra, whoop, you're done. That's what people want to do. That's the wow effect. I can clone your card that fast. But in order to do that, you need to have software that is really well updated and trimmed and adjust towards that purpose. And when it comes to the iCopy-X, they choose to, fuck their GPL license and go their own way and be assholes. So, they don't update their firmware and clients. So the Proxmark they are using, it's like from 2020. And as most people know by now, the Proxmark code still evolves quite much and many things happens. Which is, it is what it is. This is not the only one. There are more cloners. Another cloner right now that's popular out there is, you see these kind of style. It's a newer iteration of the iCopy 100 or whatever it is. And before that, you have the blue gun and the white gun cloners. They all look like this, but this is the later versions. And many of these is coming out. So the whole market of Chinese cheap cloners is coming out like crazy. They all have a problem is that they can't do some, the simplest attacks they can do, usually, MyFair Classic, copy a card, MyFair Ultralight. But they cannot do more serious ones. And that is when I joked about, upload your stuff to our server and we online and crack it, So that's the problem. It's the same thing with iCopy and all that stuff. It comes down to trust. You cannot trust anything that goes out of, your assignment. So that makes them bad. This is what I said, that they had an idea, but they didn't understand the pen testers and red teamers really exact, precise requirements. So they made something because they want to do this market, and they also want to reach the consumer market, which doesn't give a fuck where we set up the credentials, right? It's like, I don't know, but it works. So that's why they are there. So what I think about them, I think we will see more of them, but the problem with them is that we always focus on the most interesting tech today, the ones that's already mostly researched, and there are tons of available source code that we can just copy and use and say, so the Flipper does that, the same thing, most of the RFID NFC code in here comes from Proxmark repo. They don't say that they took it, but you can look at it and you go like, okay. Chameleon Ultra, same thing there. It's nothing secret. If you digress those tools there. If you look into a firmware, you see the same dark side nested attacks that you see online everywhere. So it's nothing new. So they really reuse the old stuff, but they do not come up with anything new. It has to be something that's published. Software takes forever. Researching software and developing tools software-wise takes years, and these people don't. These people take what's there and make a new product from it. So they don't add to it. That's why I still use my Proxmark, because it can do so much more with it than the other things. Which is a follow-up question from you. What is the future of Proxmark? I would say it's dead. The Proxmark 3 as a concept, as hardware, is a dead thing. To be honest, what is a Proxmark? It's a limited SDR. It's a software-defined radio, limited focusing towards low frequency and high frequency. And today's RFID, here's a hint, this is Iceman gives away the knowledge. If you want to do anything today that's actually modern and it's going to be taking over things, you have to cover 3 of them. You have to cover low frequency, high frequency, and ultra high frequency. You have to have all those 3 technologies. And you have to have all the things that you can do with Proxmark in it already from the beginning. And then you have to add the UHF stuff, in order to get more things. That would be a product that would be amazing. So from a viewpoint of a Proxmark, people ask me, will there be a Proxmark 4? Will there be a Proxmark 5 Pro and all that? I'm like, no, because the hardware is ancient. You can slap on a bigger FPGA and an ARM. It doesn't matter. You just do the same thing. You don't get anything new. What's the kicker? So what you do need is very interesting projects within the SDR field. I've been fortunate with talking to the radio frequency village people there. They are exceptionally knowledgeable in this field of SDRs. And their gear, their equipment, their antennas is so much better. And I think that is the future to go if there's anything to happen.
So you really believe that the future of RFID cracking is there with the SDR community, right?
Yeah, in SDR, I think that is the future. And it's going to cross over. This is why the Flipper is so successful as well. The Flipper uses sub-gigahertz apps in it, right? And they have apps, you can do it. A little bit messy source code, but yeah, it is what it is. But they have invented that app store thing for the Flipper apps, and you can just add things. And it also becomes cluttered, you're like, oh, you have to go. It's not that simple anymore, but it still can do a lot of things. So you can do limited SDR things with it, quite much. But the hardware it's too limited in this one, so I think there's definitely a future for those things, yes. And the RFID hacking community's future is in the SDR world, yes.
I'm curious to know, how do you balance ethical concerns when exposing vulnerabilities?
It's a very balanced edge. You walk on a very thin edge, and you go like, and I ask myself, and I try to convey the same sense of morale towards the people in the community that figure things out, because they do. Eventually, we always do. And they go like, oh, I want to tell the world. And you go like, oh, congratulations, you solved this. You're not the first to solve this. And with great knowledge comes great power, or with power comes great responsibilities. And they need to know that if you release this, there's no gain, there's no upside. This doesn't help the customers, it doesn't help the company, it helps you for your ego and try to get a name, but you make more problems than solving it. You're not part of a solution, you're more part of a problem. So I tell people, it's great that you found it and you learned something in it. Take that with you and be happy with that, because that's amazing. Especially when it comes to hotel systems and packs. People want to do things and stream out, say how bad this is, and say, oh, we are so good researchers. Yes, but if you hack something for that, make sure that the company that you're hacking has a more secure product. So when you hack HID, iClass and iClass SC stuff, it's okay because they have CEOs. And this is where I think this one fucked up with our product, because they made a downgrade attack for CEOs. And you don't have a way to protect you against that more than you have to reconfigure things. And that's annoying for the company. So I know you can release things as an academic research paper, which is good because then you look at it a little bit differently. But I see too much things. It's another thing that I've seen during these years of change. It's the bugs has a logo and has a web page and has a promotional and all that stuff. And there's a lot of brand building. People try to build a brand and be something, and which is okay per se, but if you have that as a moral guide point, you burn so much. I mean, if you like the wing card system, Ghost developed 2018, the two Finnish researchers, and they didn't release anything more than saying that it is bad, and that's it. We got the credentials, we got the reputation for it, but they didn't release anything, which is good because there were like 140 million devices, readers out there on the hotel rooms. And the only thing that would have happened is that people would be able to go into other people's rooms, So I think that's an exceptionally good way of looking at things. You can talk about it in general terms and say that there is a problem, and you get your talks and you get your fame. And then you don't release how it's done because it doesn't help in the end of the day.
But isn't what ethical hackers are doing, like just contacting the company and tell them like, hey, there is a problem with your stuff, there is a security hole, I can exploit that, so fix it? Like, isn't it?
Now you're coming into the problem. Another problem is that, I think people should get paid for the work. And I think responsible disclosures helps people to tell the company about it. But usually they don't get any money for it. They go like, oh, that's nice. Maybe we get a CVE. And I'm like, do you know what? If you went to a black market, you would have gone $2 million. If you go into a bug bounty program, you would have got $200,000. Now you just went to the company and they said, fuck you. You're a bad guy, but we will fix it, so bye. So I think that, from an aspect of, if you put down several months of work in trying to find this little bug and hole and just to, disclose it, it's up to you. But I think there has to be a dialogue there about actually understanding that the effort and time to figure out some money, how that works, has to be done. So, it comes an aspect. The dark side of this world is real, where you can sell it, and the bug bounties are real. So I've been fortunate enough to talk to some of these bug bounty peoples as well, and they also like that. Where do I get the biggest bounties? Because if I go to the black market, it's times 10. And okay, why would you do that? And some people are like, fuck it, I don't have a morale, I think about myself. And some people are like, no, I couldn't do that, that would be unethical. So it has to be a better way somewhere. It's not optimal today.
Even if rules are not clear, like if you don't contact the company first and check what can be done, how you know?
You don't, and usually you get a whole heap of crap. They tell me, I heard so many stories now from people saying that they went into these bug bounties, or they went to this disclosure programs on the webpage. They went there, they got, prove it, and then it's like, fuck off. No, duplicate, we know about this. And that's it, okay? So it's so different. And then there are companies that are like exceptionally good and do things properly. I mean, realize, if you think about it, the Google Zero Day Initiative, it's an example of, we will release the source code for our POCs in 90 days disclosure, whether you answer us or not. and that forces company to do things, because that is a real problem. Companies, even if they have a disclosure program, they don't act.
What advice do you have for newcomers in RFID security?
Read the data sheets. No, no, be curious. No, be curious. Ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid of asking questions. I ask questions still today, continuously. I do mistakes today. I mess things up today. Never be afraid of them. Don't think that you have to be perfect and make everything right from the day one. That your code should work completely. You make mistake. That's how you learn. You try to bike, you fall off the bike, you learn again. Same thing with this. Be curious, ask questions, and read. There's tons of materials and video channels. If you don't want to read, you can look at it and listen to. Just be curious.
I wanted to ask you what's the most exciting project you're working on right now, but I think we already have a t-shirt for that.
I don't want to say anything. No, it's a joke. To be honest, there are some interesting stuff that is going on, of course, but much of those is I cannot talk about, of course. I hope to be able to talk about things in the near future, about things. There are many super fun, interesting projects going on right now. One of the things that comes back to this is what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm not working anymore. I stopped my job and trying to make myself another living with this world. So YouTube channel and doing that stuff, and trying to promote different RFID things via talk at conferences, but also be a maker, make some more devices the way that it is. And during this part, I talked to a bunch of other makers, like MG from Hack5, where he sells his things, and I talked to El Cantaro about things, and we talked about making collabs. So let's see if we can make something together with other people, make some crossovers and, have some fun, bring back the fun in it. And, obviously I'm a more software guy, so I know what I can do. And, maybe it's dedicated hardware, maybe it's not dedicated hardware, maybe it's add-ons, maybe it's not, maybe who knows. But yes, I think it's exciting though.
What's your take on biometric systems versus RFID?
The biometric systems and RFID, I think it's good. It's good. They need to have multi-factor authentication in that sense. Given today's attack with relay attacks with the RFID card, the proof of being near, the proximity of being near the reader that you are there has to be added, because today you can do relays attacks across Europe and you don't have to be near the reader. So if you add a fingerprint or an IC scan, you add the more chances that right person is next to the reader. So it's still also the wet dream about things, right? I'm still looking forward to see a biometric system that uses, I don't know, like the iPhone, the Face ID things, something like that instead. That's fast, instead of, looking through his eyes. And it takes forever. I think that would be, it's interesting. I haven't seen too many systems do it. It's rarely seen. You see PIN codes. That's what you see, but easily bypassed.
Well, I saw 3D printings of faces to bypass the face stuff. I saw so many stuff lately. I'm just like, what is secure, what is not, actually. It's more secure, yeah, but is it there?
I think what you actually want to ask is what is secure. That's actually, we can talk about technology, but what is the purpose of it? And you're touching actually the interesting part is a lot of these systems you and I know that they are not secure. They are there to give you as an end user a feeling of security. It's secure enough. The hotel rooms, the key in there, it's secure enough. When you go into a company, commercial building, it's secure enough. If you go into, if you look at completely different level, high security buildings like military, and you go there, they allow you in if you manage, but you ain't coming out. That's the whole thing, is to detect that someone is actually in and now you're staying until we get you. So they are secure, and they throw money on that. You and I know also the reader might be top notch, but the wall next to the reader or the window sucks, right? If you want to get in, you get in.
You get in, definitely.
Yeah. So you can throw these biometric systems to give a feeling of security, but it's not secure. From all the war stories I've heard, it comes down to users. The doors, the people who use these doors, it has to be functional for them. It has to go fast enough, so because they need to get in that door or out. If that takes too long or it's complicated or people are gonna get pissed off and just put the door open.
Does the tech still excites you?
Yes, it does.
Are you
Short
still
answer,
excited
yes.
about yeah?
I love it, man. I still love it. I haven't learned enough. It's always something new. I learn so much every day. I get to, like I said, to talk to people who is like amazing, and I pick their brains, and I'm blessed in that sense that I can do that, and I think it's amazing.
Do you mind sharing a wow moment in your career?
I can tell you about the story I usually talk about when I get into the Proxmark world. How I how I ended up 2013 buying a Proxmark and failing miserably when I bought it. And it's so I bought this. I said I'm going to be doing a hacker tool, and I'm going to do something for me because let's make something fun again. I didn't find computers funny anymore. So I bought this tool, a Proxmark 3, and I got this package. Like, all right, $300 later, it's a green FPGA thing. XFPGA, and I'm like, now what? Okay, put in some antennas, plug it in, and try to download things and do things, failing miserably, of course, and asking on the forum, and people go like, have you followed the instructions? Did you download Proxbase? No, I should be able to do this myself. Failed. So, I put this Proxmark up on a shelf, and near me there, I don't know if you're gonna see it, but I have some shelves up there, and it's like a cat hate, when a cat resents you and lays up there and looks down at you and like reminds you about, I really despise you. So I'm having this, I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, I spent so much money on that one. So it took 6 months before I'm like, all right, I spent so much money, I'm gonna do it again. I took it down, follow the instructions, download it. Oh, it compiled. Now what? I flashed it. Never done that with my. So what is embedded? Put it on the thing. Oh, it's running the client. Oh, took out the bus ticket system that we have in my town. That's what I was curious about. My for classic car. Put it on the antenna. Dark side attack. Enter, and then it took about 4 seconds, and the key comes out, and I'm like. That dopamine kick of the first key I ever cracked. Yeah. I still remember that feeling, and it's still what makes me tick. I'm like, I got to know more. And that was the beginning of Iceman.
So it's my last question. Where can we find the Iceman on social media, and where can we support you?
You can find me at x.com, former known as Twitter, under Herman 1001. Iceman was occupied. You also find me on the Discord server, the Discord channel, the RFID hacking by Iceman. Always welcome to find any related discussions there. And I also have a YouTube channel where you can see me trying to talk about topics of interest regarding to RFID hacking. Feel much obliged to do it. I also got a merch store. Yay!
Whoa, what a ride, right? Big thanks to Iceman for sharing his wisdom. If you love this, smash the like button and hit subscribe. Ready to dive even deeper? Head to lab41.com for all your pentesting and RFID needs. Always with the best service and the best price. Catch you at the next one.